Oh.
Sophie Turner, thanks for joining us at Gold Derby. You're obviously Sansa Stark on HBO's Game of Thrones. I'm going to ask you to since it's our first time talking to you, could you take us way back to when you first auditioned for the show? What was the audition like? Do you remember?
Do I remember?
Did they tell you much about what it was about?
I was 13. I don't think. I mean, they didn't really tell us much. We didn't get scripts. We got scenes, sides, and I hadn't heard of HBO. I hadn't, because I live in the UK. I hadn't heard of Game of Thrones even. So I was just lucky to get like an audition for something. I was just so excited to do that. I had no idea that it was actually going to be a really good quality show. And yeah, the auditioning process was tough. It was like a good few months of just auditioning with different people, and one of the scenes was like really intense. It was when Sansa sees her father's head on a spike for the first time. So they really put us through it. And I auditioned with Maisie. It was my final audition. But it was really fun. I love the auditioning process. It's a really fun time. So even though I had no idea what I was auditioning for, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Well, it was your first acting job too, if I'm correct on that.
Yes.
And I guess by all purposes, the first season was considered a hit. Got it had like 2.5 million viewers, and then now you guys are at a point where it's like 18.5 million between all platforms and anything or everything. Did you ever when you got there and you were on set and everything? Did you ever get a feeling about how successful this show could potentially be? I mean, I know it was a gradual kind of increase.
Yeah.
But did it ever when did it hit you that this was like a mega crazy hit?
I don't know if it's. I think I can only remember one kind of moment where I was like, oh wow, I guess people do watch the show. Was when we hadn't had premieres for seasons 1 or 2 because I don't know. I guess people didn't really know it. People were responding to it, but not. There wasn't like crazy demand for it. And then season 3, I think it was the season 3 premiere was the first premiere that we had. And also living in the UK, I didn't really see much of the fan base either. So then coming out, and we had it at the Chinese theatre, and I remember seeing people lining the streets, and I was like, I remember pulling up and going, well, who are they here for? They're like, no, they're here for the Game of Thrones premiere. And I was like, oh my God, people actually watch the show. People like it. And San Diego Comic-Con, the first time I was there as well, seeing that immediate reaction from the fans and meeting them and hearing what the show means to them, I guess that was one of the moments where I was like, oh wow, people do watch it. But we never really, I don't think we ever really felt like, I don't think we ever predicted that it would be a big success straight away. I remember saying goodbye to David and Dan, the creators, after we wrapped season 1, and I was crying because I was 13 and I was like, what am I gonna do? Are we gonna be greenlit for season 2? And they were like, we don't know. We really don't know. It could be terrible, it could be great. So thankfully it was okay. And people like it.
They do a lot. Now to your character, Sansa, who I guess at this point, so we've seen this gradual transition of her from the beginning of the series when it was based on the books, and then now you have no books. Who, or at least for your character, who do you? Are you just going with the flow? Is there anybody that you look to base her off of? She seems to be part Cersei, part because she's so stoic, and then part Mother of Dragons because she just wants to do good for everybody. Is there a mix that you?
I think all of Sansa is who she is because of the people that she's been around, like Littlefinger and Marjorie and Cersei, and she really, that's how she learned to manipulate, and that's how she learned to play the game. So I really kind of do watch Lena's performances and Natalie's performance their characters from when Sansa was around them, and Littlefinger, and I kind of tried to draw things from them like Sansa is, and kind of mirroring that to make her the person that she is, because she really is just kind of like a product of her environment, very much so, and the people that she surrounded herself with. So, you know, everyone on the show that she's kind of encountered are my kind of inspirations for Sansa.
Well, speaking of encounters, I mean, poor Sansa. We see her a lot with Joffrey, then we see her with Littlefinger,
Yeah.
now we see her with Ramsay.
Yeah, she's a lucky girl.
Yeah, exactly. She's a lucky girl. But finally, we see her with Jon Snow. Is it like a sigh of like relief now that you're like with somebody that you can work with, rather than having to be kind of almost a damsel in distress? Now you're more of a badass.
Yeah, and they're equals for the first time, and I think he's really restoring her faith in men. And it's just nice for her to be on par with someone of the opposite sex, especially. To have that for herself is quite a big thing. And to have someone listen to her and actually ask her advice is a really nice thing for her, I think. It's just nice for her to not be a damsel in distress, and she's a kind of leader in her own right now. And that's really refreshing. And I always felt like I saw the potential in her right from the beginning, and it's nice that it's coming into fruition now.
Yeah, I mean, it completely seems that way. It seems like whenever I watch shows, I was like, I bet if Sansa was one-on-one with these guys, she could take them. I mean, they're all much smaller than her.
They are all a lot smaller than her. It's funny.
Yeah, they just have armies around them.
They have armies around them and apple boxes to make them look cooler.
So, for you personally, as Sophie, how do you, because what Sansa went through in season 5, we all know it was pretty brutal. And then, season 6, just she never seems to catch a break.
No.
How do you, as Sophie, then escape Sansa? Like, get out of character? Is it tough? Is there like an exercise you do? I know there are many actors that do different things to get out of their character, but something so deep and emotional, I imagine, is kind of sometimes tough to get out of.
I think part of the reason that I can kind of go in and out of character so easily is because I've grown up with her and I've had my formative years with her, and it just feels so natural now to have that other personality. It's kind of like a split personality, I suppose. But I don't find it particularly difficult to come out of character. Obviously the scenes that you do, they do take a toll on you, but you just kind of have to. You have to go to the bar with your friends and have a drink at the end of the day and just forget about everything that's happened. Because otherwise I think you just get so wrapped up in it and it would be slightly depressing.
Well, some things that are not depressing. Let's move on. We are an awards website, so we do like to talk about awards. Your TV sister, Macy, got her an Emmy nomination.
Yeah, girl.
How exciting was that for you? I mean, I heard you in an interview say how close you guys are, so it must have just been...
Oh, it was amazing. Because, I mean, I don't get to see her work anymore, like on set, but I'm with her at the end of the day, and I see how much she puts into it. And, she's so deserving of this nomination. She was so deserving of it, and she really puts her heart and soul into this character, and the work that you can see it in the work that she does on the show. Like, she's incredible, and she really has become Arya, and I don't know, I'm just so happy for her. I think it's so deserved, and she's so gracious about it too. I just couldn't think of anyone that's more deserving, really. I'm happy for her. She's my little sister. And Kit as well. Kit's so deserving, and Amelia and Lena and everyone. But if we're talking specifically about Maisie, then yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah, well, she's a Stark. That's why I thought.
She's a Stark.
Well, I mean, you yourself, though, haven't done bad in that respect. I mean, you just won a Glamour Award for Best UK Actress, and you've been nominated as part of the ensemble 4 times at the Screen Actors Guild. I imagine, like, all of that recognition, especially coming from your peers, is something that maybe you probably weren't anticipating when you first started.
Oh God, no, I wasn't. I remember actually when I first got the job for Thrones. I remember being like, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this. And my mum was like, oh, like you get paid as well. And I was like, I get paid? So then to have people like recognizing me for the work that I do, like to be nominated for awards is like it's just it's really it's crazy, and very humbling, and you know I don't do it for that, but it's such a bonus, and it's so nice to know that you know peers and actors who are in the industry and really you know what you go through every day. It's so cool to have them recognize your work. So I really appreciate that.
Well, speaking of recognized too, you guys at Game of Thrones at the Emmys are just they just crush it. It's like you guys go in with an army and just bring out a whole bunch.
We really do. There's a lot of us that turn
There's a
up.
lot of you. You guys have the record, I believe, with 38 of most Emmys won by a scripted series.
Yeah.
That first year, or I guess 2 years ago now, 2 Emmy seasons ago now, when you guys first won drama series, were you guys expecting it at all? Was it a shock when they called Game of Thrones, or did you have a little bit of a hint that were you looking at Gold Derby's boards and saying that Game of Thrones was going to win?
I was like, of course, no. I don't know. We never expect to win. We really don't. Like every time I've been sat near David and Dan, the creators, and I've been like, guys, what do you think? Like, do you think we're gonna do it? And they're like, no. Like, don't even. We don't even like nominate anyone to talk. And so every time we get out there, we're like, because we just never expect it. Which is it's amazing that you know we do, and it's so nice that people recognize the show for what it is. But no, we never really expected. There are so many good shows on TV as well now that it's like it's so cool that we're even up against those shows. So yeah.
Now, I would get in trouble if I didn't ask something about X-Men, so I'm going to ask you just a question or two on X-Men.
Go for it.
Jean Grey is probably one of the most emotional and hard characters to play in the X-Men series.
Yeah.
And I just see like when I watched it, I saw like a correlation kind of what you go through with Sansa and what Jean Grey goes through. Was there like, did you bring any part of her to that when you were an X-Men?
I don't think I brought any part of Sansa to her, but like there was definitely parallels in their stories, and you know their journeys do definitely mirror each other. But Jean, I don't know. I try to separate them as much as possible. I think obviously the fact that they're both very much coming into their own and finding their feet, and it's about them kind of being thrown into this world that they're kind of terrified by, and then you know finding their feet and growing stronger. But no, I didn't really want to bring any of Sansa to Jean because otherwise it would just be like collision of the redheads. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want people to get confused basically and just see me as Sansa for the rest of my life. But yeah, no, it was funny how they kind of mirrored each other. I guess I'm just drawn to roles which are quite testing and emotional. But it's more fun that way.
So then on the flip side, do you wish you could bring the Jean Grey to Sansa and just kind of just wipe everybody out already?
I mean,
just
that would be great. I would have loved that. Yeah, I would have loved to go full Jean Grey on everyone's ass and, you know, blow them away like she did with Apocalypse. But can't do that in Westeros. Waiting on the dragons to come and do it for me.
Yeah, there you go. Just a few more questions before we wrap up. Fan questions. I asked for some questions and got a pretty big response from people.
You did?
I wanted to ask
great.
Questions. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. One is from let's see, Ryan Georgia Bulldog wants to know.
Ryan Georgia Bulldog.
Yes. Football team
from college.
Yeah. With the final 2 seasons of Game of Thrones coming up, and your venture into X-Men, do you have any plans to venture into more big screen projects versus small screen, or do you know what's going to come next?
I mean, I love doing Game of Thrones and X-Men and the kind of big stuff because you get time to really work on those characters. And it's so much. I mean, I've been so lucky to develop a character over like 7 years with Thrones, but also I really love the smaller screen stuff too, where it's a very intense process for like a month or two, and you're working every day and you're really with the character constantly, and you're kind of in it completely, almost method for like a month or two, which you're really living that life, and I love doing that as well. So I think it just depends on the project, really. But it's always nice to have a guaranteed job when you're doing like a franchise or something. Like that's really nice. But no, I do love the smaller ones as well. I really love them. They're real passion projects.
Sophie Turner online would like to know.
Oh. Hey guys.
If you could, it's kind of a random question, but she asked, if you could only read one of your favorite childhood stories for the rest of your life, which would it be?
I love that. Oh, it would be The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Did you ever have that?
No.
No, it sounds quite British, doesn't it?
That was the tea part.
It's about a tiger who comes to tea.
Good story.
I can't actually remember much else of it. Or any of the Mr. Men books.
All right. M, just letter M, would like to know.
It's not me.
Mara.
Has your opinion about Sansa changed at all through the years of playing her? Are there anything you disliked about her that you now maybe like about her?
No. I've always admired her. I've always had like this. She's always inspired me so much, and I've had such admiration for her. And I think I've just always saw the potential in her, and I've always seen the good in her. So as time has changed, she's just kind of fulfilled everything that I had hoped for her. There's never really been a moment where I've kind of questioned her or disliked her. Never. I think, but maybe it's because I feel so close to her that I feel like I understand everything that she feels. I'm like, I get it, dude. Like, you've been through so much that, like, even if she does do something that's maybe questionable to other people, like, I'm so with her, and our minds are so in sync that, like, anything she does is justified for me. And she's amazing. I love her. I talk about her like a person. It's quite weird.
It's not. You're not her right now, so she's a completely different person.
You don't know.
Well, at least we know we're safe, because Sansa's level-headed.
Yeah, she's level-headed.
She's level-headed.
For now.
All right, 2 more quick questions and we'll be done. On the flip then, Nick Lawless wants to know, have any of the opinions of your family members in the show changed? But I imagine most of them are dead, so I didn't really see them.
Most are dead. Have my opinions on my family members changed?
Yeah, in the show.
Wait, who's still alive? Jon is still alive, Arya, Bran. That's it for my family, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so sad.
I think Jon is the one that fits the question the most.
Okay, yes, that does fit the question the most. I think with Jon, definitely. I mean, all Sansa's kind of been about for the past like 5-6 seasons is seeing her family again, and I suppose she kind of put them on something of a pedestal because everyone else has been so terrible to her. So when she saw Jon again, she was so elated to see him. And so excited to kind of get back to where they were and have him treat her with the respect that, he used to, but they've both been through so much and he's not listening to her as much anymore, and he's not respecting what she's been through, and I think she feels a little disheartened by Jon. As lovely as it is to see him again, and as much as they do love each other, there's a lot of tension there that's been slowly building throughout the seasons.
And the last question, Freya wants to know, what have you learned from Sansa yourself as Sophie, and is there any advice that you would give her if you guys just kind of been on the street?
Oh wow. I don't think I could give her any advice. I think I'm not in a position to give her any advice. She's been through enough. And she's had great advice from great people like Littlefinger, Cersei, Marjorie. She doesn't need anything else. But I mean, from her, I've learned. I mean, I haven't taken any of it on board, but she inspires me in the way that she's so brave, and she stands up for what she believes in, and she never gives up, and she never stops hoping. She never gives up on her family, and I think that's something that's really quite beautiful about her, and how she's defying patriarchy of the time, and all of the social boundaries that are put upon young women in those times. I love how she's breaking all of those kind of stereotypes, and yeah, she's doing a lot. She's doing a lot of good things at the moment. She inspires me.
She is. But on the flip side, so are you, and there's a lot of success coming your way. So we want to thank you for joining us. The Globes are coming up. Screen Actors Guild, now that Downton Abbey's out of the way, hopefully you guys got this one wrapped up.
We're waiting for that to go.
And congratulations to you and everything that you've accomplished too. And look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, me too. Thanks, guys. That was so nice.